Three, four? All right. You know, the great late Phil Schaap used to say that station that he worked at was called the home of technical difficulties. My life is the home of technical difficulties. I forgot to plug in the mic. Well, this is the first of many things that are going to go wrong tonight. But anyway, the first right thing is that we're here, I think, and we're the Nighthawks playing music of the 1920s and 30s, and I'm your band leader, Vince Giordano. Thank you. All right. And we opened up with a little fanfare that was used for our Universal Pictures back in the 30s, written by the great Jimmy McHugh, who wrote Sunny Side of the Street, I Can't Give You Anything But Love, Baby, and I Saw You in Other Tunes. And he had a big timpani solo in it. And I said, man, that would be a great tune to play for our drummer. And sure enough, our drummer, Paul Wells, brings in his timpani every Monday and Tuesday and plays his timpani. Play the timpani for him. Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, you're good. We'll have fun with that. And then we segued into a tune called I've Got Someone. And the someone is you and this band. And it was played by a band called the Missourians back in the 1920s. And this later became the Cab Calloway Orchestra as time moved on. Anyway, Cab wasn't there at the time. Right now we have Sam Chess had a nice trombone solo there. And Peter Yaron playing some nice piano. Mark Lobin on the tenor saxophone. And that was Joe Boga playing all those hot notes for us. And the guy playing the alto saxophone was a guy named Will Anderson. Yeah. Now throughout the night, of course I'll be giving you information, the tunes, the composers and arrangers and singers and all that kind of stuff. But I'd like the guys occasionally to speak up and tell a little bit of their story because they do some fantastic things on their own. And I call it the Nighthawk Shopping Home Network, or the Home Shopping Network, whatever I'm trying to say. That's number 2 mistake. So right now, we're going to turn it over to Will Anderson.
Thank you, Uncle Vince. I appreciate that. I wanted to quickly mention that I am going to be leading my own show here at Birdland upstairs, along with my twin brother, Peter. On March 25th, we'll be presenting a show called The Journey of Jazz. So come check that out. It's going to be just like this show, but the notes will be played in a slightly different order. Also, I do have something for sale tonight. Now, in this climate, selling CDs is very difficult, but musicians are always up for a challenge. So I thought to myself, what's even harder than selling a CD? So I wrote a book. It's called Songbook Summit, 15 Pioneers of American Sound, and it chronicles the lives and stories of many of these great composers and musicians, including Benny Goodman, George Gershwin, Irving Berlin, and Lady Gaga? No. Check it out. Thank you.
Okay. How about that Will Anderson? Nice. All right. Last night, Monday, we worked, and it was the anniversary of Bix Beiderbecke's birth. Bix Beiderbecke was this fantastic cornet, piano, and he arranged, even though he really didn't write the music, he arranged stuff at the piano. He was from Davenport, and he only was with us 28 years. He passed away in Queens in 1931. So some of the guys said, hey, how about playing some more Bix music tonight? I said, well, why not? And here's a tune that Paul Whiteman's band played in 1928. It was arranged by my teacher, a fellow by the name of Bill Chalice. And it was adapted from a classical piece, Mr. Grunfeld. These three Tin Pan Alley guys, Kozlow, Miroff, and Dyson got together. And it's called Lonely Melody, a little haunting thing here. And here it is. So I give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Melody, played by Paul Wyman with Bix Beiderbecke and the Frankie Schomburg saxophone section. That was John Eric Kelso playing that wonderful Bix solo. Nice. And a little bit of Andy Stein. Whiteman had about 8 strings. We have 1, and that's Andy, but he did great. He did great. All right, we're going to move right along and play something that was written by a British drummer, a fellow by the name of Nat Leslie. And he came to the States, I think, in the late 20s. I don't have everything about him, but he wrote some really interesting tunes while he was in New York. Then he went out to California, right, for Hollywood screen pictures. This one's called Blue Rhythm, and it was played by the Mills Blue Rhythm Band and Fletcher Henderson's band. This is our good friend Jan Stolbe from the Czech Republic who took the sauce for us. Blue Rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2. Great piano solo there by our wonderful pianist resident there, Peter Yaron. There you go, nice. And a little bit more of Will Anderson on the alto. And I just want to mention that we are broadcasting tonight on YouTube. It's called Radio Free Birdland. And a few folks out there, hello. I can't hear them applaud because they're sitting at home. But if you want to pass along the link to friends to join in, send us some comments, either positive or negative. I love them all. It's good to hear from you. And you don't have to spell my name correctly, which is never done anyway. Okay. We're going to go back to Bix right now. And Bix Beiderbecke learned to play the cornet by listening and playing along with old phonograph records. His brother brought home a whole bunch of records, and I think after World War I, probably about 1918 or so. And there was a bunch of records by this new band called the Original Dixieland Jazz Band. They made the first jazz records and for Victor in those early days. And they brought a whole bunch of new tunes that they wrote and put together. And one of them was called the Ostrich Walk. And Bix just loved all that stuff. So later on, when he became a professional musician, he would re-record these things with his own ensembles or Frank Trumbauer's band. And this is an arrangement that comes from originally the Goldkett Band, again written by Bill Chalice, transcribed by Mark Lopman here. It's called the Ostrich Walk. And here it is. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's a great arrangement. We recorded that with the great Bill Chalice for our Gold Kid project, Ostrich Walk. And that was Sam Chess recreating that wonderful Bill Rank solo, and John Kelso doing the Bix pieces. And today is March 11th, and it's the birthday of a lot of jazz musicians, and Lawrence Welk too. But Miff Mole's birthday is today, or was today, whatever. And the drummer, the great drummer who I knew back in my teens, a guy named Chauncey Morehouse, who played in this band, and that was Paul Wells playing all those Chauncey Morehouse breaks. Not too many people talk about Chauncey Morehouse these days, but I'm president of the Chauncey Morehouse fan club, at least on Elm Avenue in Brooklyn. All right, now, John Kelso.
Do you mind if I say also the birthday
No.
of Andy Sinella?
Andy Sinella, yes, yes.
And Ramona Davies.
Ramona Davis, right.
And
Blue Steel.
Jesse Matthews.
Jesse Matthews, Blue
and
Steel.
Blue Steel.
There you go. A lot of crazy people were born on March 11th. I don't know why. Anyway, we're going to feature a trumpet player right now who's just been playing all that Bix stuff, and we're going to put him in a whole nother section here. We're doing some Louis Armstrong, and that's John Kelso. And John Kelso, I want to put you in the Nighthawk Home Shopping Network channel right now, and why don't you make an announcement if you can?
Hi. So I have a gig on Sunday nights that I've been doing for 17 years now at a place called the Ear Inn, which is down on Spring Street, downtown, on the west side of Soho. And it's one of the oldest bars in the city. It's over 200 years old. Wow. And I have this swinging little quartet that we call, of course, the Irregulars. And we now have a Live at the Ear Inn CD that just happens to be available back there next to the other merchandise. Thank you.
John Kelso. Nice, all right. And you know, I always have fun with this because you remember the great Carol Burnett always used to end her show by pulling on her ear. And for any of you folks that said, no, it can't be really called the Ear Inn. It's really the Ear Inn, I believe. For you folks out of town, when you come to New York. We're broadcasting tonight on the great airwaves of Radio Free Birdland, and from Birdland on West 44th Street. And we're going to play a song associated with Louis Armstrong. Now, you all know about Louis Armstrong, right? Good, all right, that's a pretty good response. And Louis Armstrong lived in Queens. And right now, there is a great place for you to go on some day. Make it a point to see this great Louis Armstrong House Museum. Louis's artifacts are there, and there's so many great things in it. Great tour. You'll have a wonderful time. I used to have flyers, but I'm told in about 6 years, they're going to send me some flyers so I can give them all to you. Maybe 7 years, I don't know. I'll wait, but I'll do the best I can from here. And Louis Armstrong from New Orleans was helped out a lot by an older trumpet man, a man named Joe Oliver. They used to call him King Oliver because at that time he was the king of trumpet. And then later on, I think Louis surpassed him, and that was that. But Louis was always very humble and loved what Joe Oliver did for him. So as a kind of an homage, he got in the studio in 1928 and cut this classic performance that only helped jazz, and a lot of jazz fans got to be aware of this great artist and his career too. It's called the West End Blues, and here's John Kelso to tell you all about it. Yes, Sam? Bubble daddle, daddle daddle, daddle daddle, daddle, baba boodle, daddle daddle, daddle daddle. How about those clarinets, man? They're scaring me, man. That's Peter Yaron doing the Earl Father Hines solo. Give him a nice hand. Come on. Yeah, Peter. John Kelso, how about it? That wonderful Louis Armstrong solo. Nice solo there by Sam Chess. And you might have noticed our clarinets had something different going on there. They had megaphones around them. 3 aluminum megaphones. Yes, sir. Those weren't on the original date, but we decided to kind of jazz it up for you guys, you know, and we're ready for our next film, and they might need clarinet megaphones. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. Peter Yaron there doing that great solo from Earl Father Hines. It was beautiful, beautifully played. And you might noticed or heard a different sound from the drum section, a sound of a little, you know, clip-clop, clippy-clop sound. It's something called a bacca-ra-bach. And the original drummer, Zooty Singleton, had a set of those. These are not the original. These are other, well, we never know about it. And it's called bacca-ra-bachs. And Paul Wells played them. And show the folks a little bacca-ra-bach. Oh. All right, that's enough, that's enough. Once he gets started, he can't stop. How about a nice hand for Paul Wells on the bacca-ra-bach? Woo! Nice, okay. All right. People have been asking me for years, when you're going to record that tune, the West End Blues. And I said, well, it's hard, it's challenging, and we had to work it all out. But we finally did it, and it came out on this item right here. And it looks like an LP and feels like an LP and all that stuff, but technically, it's a 78 RPM vinyl. What? Oh, I knew you'd do that. Okay. Our wonderful friend here, Reinhardt at Rivermont, decided to start making 78 RPM records. So if you buy this, which I hope you do, make sure that your turntable has 3 speeds. Of course, it's going to have 33. It's going to have 45. But it's got to have 78. If it doesn't have 78, the music's gonna sound really slow. Okay, and we don't want that. Okay, stop that. All right, that's good, guys. That's good slow music. And another thing, since I'm in the Nighthawk Shopping Network right now, I want to tell you that we've added a new thing for us to sell here at Birdland, and that's called Jazz Age, Great Gatsby type sheet music. And here's one, for example. I can't bring them all up. It's on the merch table. Here's the theme song from Louis Armstrong. It's called When It's Sleepy Time Down South, with the great Mildred Bailey on the cover. So there you go. Check that out if you like. You could pretend you're in an antique shop and say, can I help you? No, I'm just browsing. I'm just browsing. Anyway, my years in antique shop. Speaking of New Orleans, where King Oliver and Louis Armstrong came from, so many great musicians from New Orleans came from there and went to Chicago and New York and other places. The great Jelly Roll Morton wrote this tune back in, I guess about 1928 or so. It's called the Milenberg Joys. And Don Redman, a wonderful arranger from the Fletcher Henderson Band, was then leading the McKinney's band. And he said, let's do the Milenberg Joys. So here it is, as it was recorded on Victor in those early days. And we want to say special thanks to Tom Sanders for down in New Orleans. He's got the Hot Cats down there, and he helped us with this. So here it is, the Milenberg Joys. 1, 2, 1, 2. Milenberg Joys. I just love that tune. I think if people say, if you had one record to take to a desert island, I think that would be one of them. But that's hard to say because I take that back. There's too many I want to take. I'd probably sink the boat with all the tunes I want to bring. That was Joe Boga on the trumpet, Sam Chess on the trombone, and Will Anderson doing that wonderful alto work, which I believe was Don Redman's work. Okay, let's see. Wow, what a night. All right, we're going to change up the whole business here and play a little medley of tunes. When I was a young person, believe it or not, I was young at one point, I used to run home and after school and turn on the television and see what was there. And most of the time it was these old black and white cartoons, the Warner Brothers cartoons that had some great soundtracks on them. The Little Rascals were on along with Laurel and Hardy. And of course Betty Boop and those Fleischer cartoons, but the music of the Hal Roach comedies really intrigued me, and it took me about 40 years to find out, the names of these tunes and who wrote them and all that, because there was no identification on that. So I got together with Mark Lopman and a bunch of audio tapes from our good friend Jack Roth, and we started to piece all this stuff out. So we're going to play a medley of tunes that were used in the old Hal Roach comedies. You might recognize them. And they were all written by Roy or Leroy Shield or Shields. He had 4 different variations of his names, believe it or not. Look at him now, Beautiful Lady, and Bells. And our concert master over there, Peter Yaron, will be altering the tempos of these because they were recorded at 3 different tempos. So here's Look at him now. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's a tune that was used for Thelma Todd and Zazu Pitts, Beautiful Lady. Tune is called Bells. It features the bells. Thank you so much. That was Paul Wells back there on the chimes. Those chimes weigh about 400 pounds, and he has to take the trip in from Brooklyn in 2 steps. He takes half the chimes and the next chimes. But he makes it, and tonight we'll be up till dawn bringing all this stuff back home. All right, that's the music of Roy Shield, Leroy Shields, and I hope you enjoyed it and brought back some memories of the Hal Roach comedies from Culver City, California. Right now, we're going to put away the scores and play some old-time traditional jazz. And here's John Kelso with some ideas, I'm sure.
How about the original Dixieland one-step?
Oh, yeah. Another tune that Bix and the guys played, the original Dixieland one-step, and also Red Nichols had a nice recording of this stuff. Now, this is... Yeah, good. Thank you. Sorry. 1, 2, 1, 2. folks having a good time so far? Okay, so are we. There you go. Original Dixieland Jazz Band, One Step. And that was Sam Chess on the trombone, John Kelso on the trumpet, and that was Dan Levinson on the clarinet. All right. And Dan, I think it's your turn right now to speak on the Nighthawk Home Shopping Network. So what have you to say? What say you?
Well, thank you, Vince. In honor of Bix's birthday, I'd like to announce we have an album. Vince and John and I did a centennial tribute to Bix. That was 22 years ago, and it's just been reissued on Turtle Bay, and it is now available with additional material, not on the original issue. It's for sale. I don't know if there's any vinyl left. I think there's some CDs. We have also, John and Vince and I did an album with Dick Hyman, who turned 98 last Saturday, and produced by George Avakian, tribute to Frank Teschmacher and the great Chicago jazz pioneers, the Austin High Gang. Great album. This is the last copy in the building. It is the last copy for sale in New York City. However, you can stop over at Tower Records. Oh wait, that's closed. Sam Goody? No, that's closed too. Virgin Mega Store? No, that's HMV. You know what? $2,000. Right here, folks.
No.
I got one copy left. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Levinson. All right, moving right along. Our next soloist was our man who plays the guitar and the banjo, and he doesn't get a chance to shine too much with the big band arrangements, but the small trad jazz he does. And he's got a beautiful banjo, which he's going to show you, and then he's going to tell you some stuff that he wants you to hear. And that's Arne Arnson.
Thank you very much. So I do have an announcement as well, just of a personal nature, which is that I just became a dad.
Oh, man. Wow.
Thank you. I know that those of you who were here last night, those people are asking, what, again you became a dad?
Yeah.
What can I say? Me and my wife were just very in love. But anyway, in order to help pay for my rapidly expanding family, I'm also selling albums and CDs for sale back there. There's a vinyl record, as well as a CD. They're both called Keep Your Sunny Side Up, and they're sold with a guarantee, which is that if you buy the record and you take it home and you listen to it and you don't like it, that just send it back to me, and then I'll send you an album that I don't like. Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Arne. Thank you so much. Great. All right, our next soloist is from our keyboard man, and you've been hearing him play the piano this set so far, but he likes to also branch out and play this classical instrument called the celeste or the celesta, one of the few, if not only, jazz celeste players here in Birdland, and that's Peter Aaron. Okay. Uh-oh. Look out now. Thank you, Peter. That's the celeste. So, and the next jazz poll, make sure you vote for him and all that stuff. If there's a thing for celeste. Okay. Next is a solo by yours truly here on this very maligned instrument, except in the hands of somebody like Scott Robinson or. Who's our wonderful man with the...
Giordano?
No, the Jazz Wonders guy. Who's that guy? Yeah, Jay Ratman. It's beautiful. But I play a couple right notes now and then, and what I always say, folks, the more you drink, the better it sounds, and the more I drink, the better I think it sounds. So let's go. How sweet it is. All right, there you go. Now, to my side here is a wonderful percussionist. Like I said, he brings all this stuff in to play. Sometimes he doesn't use it. Sometimes we don't have the chimes, and we got to put him back on his bicycle and go home with it. But anyway, he's been doing some fantastic stuff around the city, and when he's not doing that, he's on the road with Curtis Stigers. How about a nice hand for that great drum solo, Paul Wells. Carol, if you could bring me up a newspaper. I seem to have lost my paper. But the final soloist for the evening has been known for his work on violin and composition, and also on the saxophone, and he's worked with people like, thank you, Garrison Keillor, Bob Dylan, Sir Paul McCartney, and Asleep at the Wheel. And on those gigs, he plays regular sax or violin, but for us, he plays the phono fiddle or the Stroh violin, and that's Andy Stein. Give him that. There you go. That's a rare instrument that was produced in England in the early part of the century, and it helped with what they called acoustic recording. Recordings back in the old days didn't have microphones, almost like me when I didn't have my microphone set up. No. But anyway, that's an inside joke. But anyway, so they needed something to project the violin, and later, when microphones came in, they still used it, but for vaudeville sense. So here's the last vaudevillian at this club. That's Andy Stein, vaudeville. Okay. Now, folks have been asking me about this music. What the heck is this music? And well, it's big band music, and some of it's pre-swing. Sometimes we play some swing. Sometimes we play some ragtime. But the best way to find out more about this music is to check out this great magazine and to subscribe to it too. Now, we have a handful of copies over there that are free. Did I hear it right? Yes, free. It's called The Syncopated Times, and we want you to check that out and find out what's going on. And we have an ad in there that talks about our gig here at Birdland every Monday and Tuesday, 2 shows, 5:30 and an 8:30 show. And I made up a little card, which is a lot easier to fool around with. And I love this card because it's got lots of different uses. You know, like and for breakfast, you know, I'm a messy eater, the cornflakes or the Rice Krispies. So what I do, I take the card and I just scrape it there, and I put them right back in the bowl. And you know what I don't get falls on the floor. Buddy the cat gets, and that's okay too. And or it jazzes up your bathroom or refrigerator. Or even better, if you buy Will Anderson's book, which he will autograph, you might need a bookmark. You might need a bookmark. Did it get it? Oh, look at that, perfecto. There you go. Okay. As I mentioned, we sometimes do films, and one of the first film that we worked with Steve Buscemi before we got into Boardwalk Empire was this great film, at least I thought it was great, called Ghost World. Anybody ever see Ghost World? All right, that's one. That's why I get my 46 cents every 2 years for royalties. And they asked us to record a bunch of material, and one of them, we're going to change it. I want to do I Must Have It. And this was done by King Oliver. This was King Oliver, sort of at the tail end of his career in 1930. He had a year or so left, but I Must Have It, and it's the flip. We're going to flip it over, guys. And here it is. So let's see what it sounds. We haven't played this since we played it in Ghost World, and when I was doing Boardwalk Empire, I said, hey, Steve, remember Ghost World? I said, did you get paid? He goes, yeah, I got paid. So that's good. The check's cleared. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Little duets there between John Kelso and the band, and then we had Sam Chess, a nice solo there, and then Dan Levinson on the clarinet megaphone. Thanks for using that clarinet megaphone again, along with Joe Boga. I must have it. Hey, normally we on our second set, because it's a little longer set, we do our Django Reinhardt Stefan Grappelli tribute. But I figured for the folks who only catch our first set, they've never heard it, so we're going to do it for you right now. So, yeah, we haven't heard it yet. Wait a minute, you don't know. And Andy Stein playing the violin, and Arndt's going to be on the guitar. Joe Boga, who's been playing all our lead trumpet, is coming back here to play the aluminium bass. I do it both ways. And yours truly is on the pork chop guitar that was on last night's menu. Here it is. Okay, can we get it for you here? All right. There we go. O'Reilly. Here we go. Inside Joe. Okay. All right. Lead the band there, Andy Stein.
Whatever you say. Alors, we will play for you a piece of Fats Waller, as performed in Paris, France. Ici, honeysuckle rose. Boga. How does he do it? How does he do it? Who does he do?
They said it couldn't be done, and they were right. Anyway, no, it was beautiful, guys. Just beautiful. There you go. All right, Andy Stein there, and Arndt Armstrong, and Joe Boga off the bass and back to his trumpet, and yours truly off the pork chop guitar and back to all my bass instruments. Here's a tune that was recorded in 1929 by a band out of Philadelphia named Doc Dougherty, and Doc Dougherty wrote a couple of tunes that became kind of semi-standards. He's kindly forgotten about these days. But this was a hot stomp. They called it 90 in the Shade. And it's not 90 in New York yet, but soon will be. So here it is. 1, 2, 1, go. Titles like that. I don't know, but that was good enough for me. That's Joe Boga, right? Playing that hot trumpet. And, yep. And Peter Yaron on some nice piano work there. And now, there was something different from the trombone. Sam Chess, what did you do? What made it sound so different tonight?
The megaphone.
The megaphone? Oh, your own megaphone. Okay, show us the difference. Oh man, that's so great. It's like from outer space. Well, what happens if you don't use the megaphone? What happens?
Without it, it's like this.
Oh no! Oh no! I heard a YouTube video of a young lady playing the trombone like that. Were you giving her lessons?
Yes.
Or was she giving you lessons?
Giving me.
Oh my goodness, that's too much. That's too much. Generally with the Nighthawks, you know, we don't, we take requests, but we don't play them. And, but occasionally we like to indulge the customer. And here's a request that we had from last year. Well, it was from December, so it wasn't too long ago. And it was a tune that was written by a couple of guys, Ernie Holtz and Steve Kretzmer, and was arranged by Lenny Hayton. Lenny Hayton, who later went on to work with the Whiteman Band, the Paul Whiteman Band, and then also do some work with the MGM Studios and married Lena Horne. And outside of that, he didn't do anything. No, he did a ton of stuff. So this is a crazy little tune called The Missouri Squabble. Here's some saxophone parts. All right, that's close. That's close. I'm going to send out the long distance stuff over there. It's called Missouri Squabble. And this comes from a band leader named Carol Dickerson, a Chicago guy. Let me send these guys over. Some of it works. And he had a great band in Chicago, played a lot of dance dates and also theater dates. And occasionally he used Louis Armstrong and Earl Hines and Zutty Singleton. And they made some records. This bunch of guys, there's 2 trumpet players in there, so the record collectors out there will correct me, but I don't know whose solo it is. It was Willie Hightower and Homer Hobson. Those were his 2 trumpet players, and Gene Anderson played the piano, and Zutty played the bass. All right, that's enough education for tonight, and the class dismissed. And here is the Missouri Squabble. 1, 2, 1, 2. We have to be one of the few bands playing that tune in New York City these nights. There you go. Nice. All right. Well, we got time for one more tune, and then I'm sorry to say we've run out of time. Yeah. But it's been great having you all here tonight, and we want to hope that you will say something nice maybe on the internet about Birdland, world's greatest jazz nightclub. We have some brochures on the table of all the other acts that are happening here this month. And every month there's a whole bunch of new bands here. And there's also the set bands, you know. Wednesday night is the Louis Armstrong Band with Dave Oswald and the High Society, New Orleans Jazz Bands on Thursday night. But they have cabaret night upstairs on Mondays, and the Birdland Big Band. It just goes on and on. I can't keep track, and frankly, I don't know how they do, but they do it. And it's fantastic to be playing in this club that's been going since 1949, right? 49? 75 years or 76, and it's a big legacy. So tonight, we appreciate you coming out for live music, but I wonder if you could take this thought with you. We really, in the live music business, need young people to find out about live music, whether it's symphony work, whether it's Broadway, cabaret, jazz, it's all good. So if you can, try to bring some young kids or get some young kids to, you know, come along with you and introduce them to live music. It's not pushing a button on a computer. That's it, class dismissed. Okay. All right, we're gonna close off, thank you. We're gonna close off with this little crazy tune that was written by Raymond Scott, who had an interesting combination on the radio, and they made some records. And it was hard to define. It wasn't dance music. It wasn't really jazz music. It was just weird music. And they had a bit of a success in those years. And later on in the 1950s, Carl Stalling, who worked at Warner Brothers Cartoons, said, you know, that quirky music will fit the cartoons of the 50s. So Raymond Scott was actually like 20 years ahead of his time. So here's an interesting one. I'm going to feature our drummer, Paul Wells, and also Mark Lotman on the tenor. It's called Twilight in Turkey. 1, 2, 1,
2. Ladies and gentlemen, Giordano and the Nighthawks. As Vince said, they are here with us every Monday and Tuesday, 5:30 and 8:30. So please come back and bring a friend. If you'd like to take the music home with you, there are CDs, LPs, sheet music, and Will Anderson's book up at the front. We here at Birdland want to thank you for coming out to support live music, and please arrive home safely.